Hello, my mathematicians. Today we're going to talk about patterns. Do you know what a pattern is? You can see patterns. Patterns are kind of like things you expect. You kind of know what's going to happen next because you've already seen enough of it that you say, oh, I know what's going next. And I know the kind of mathematicians that you are already familiar with a lot of patterns because I've had the privilege of getting to hear a lot of you count. And did you know there is actually a lot of patterns when we count? So the other day we were counting by twos. So I'm going to start writing those numbers now. And if you can think about them in your head, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42. Can you hear the pattern? 44, 46, 48, 50. Well, sometimes when you write patterns down and you can really examine them like a mathematician would, you start to notice some things. So let's look and see what we could notice about these patterns. I have a weird light in there, but hopefully you can see it okay. I'm looking at the last number. It kind of reminds me of the scrolls. Remember when we did the scrolls and we talked about how when they went down, they all had the same numbers? Check this out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, and then it repeated. So this pattern is a number that repeats. And then I'm looking, and I decided I'm going to look at these numbers now. There's a pattern that goes across. It's always 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5. Well, that's a different pattern. We kind of know what would happen next, right? It would be 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, because we know that pattern. I also noticed a pattern, and I know you guys are good at this because we also listen to you count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see that pattern? Just kind of repeats itself. So when you see patterns, you kind of know what to expect. So let's take a look again at the scrolls that you did. Well, we could look at the scrolls, or actually we could look at one of these papers. Remember when we played the number grid game, you've got a nice hundreds chart there. We've got one back here. They're all great, aren't they? Because we can look at all those patterns that we see. So when we were counting down, we are counting by tens, aren't we? And even from 4, if we add 10 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it just drops down. So whenever you go down in this hundreds chart, you're getting bigger by tens. So if I said to you, can you count by tens? And when you're little, you can do it right by going 10, 20, 30, 40. But once you're in second grade, we're going to get a little bit trickier. And we're going to say, can you count by 10 starting with 8? And you can do it because you can say, yeah, because you're going to listen to that pattern. 8, 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, 68, 78, 88, 98. Are you able to do it? See if you can count this one with me. Let's do with 3. Okay, if you can do it. And I know you can't see it until I say it, so try and do it with me. 3, 13, 23, 33, 43, 53, 63, 73, 83, 93. Every time we go down, we're getting bigger by 10. Isn't that cool? If we go up, we're getting smaller by how many? By 10. And when we go to the right, we're getting bigger by how many do you think? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where we started out, right? When you probably first learned how to count from the grown-ups in your life, right? You learned to count by ones. So we can get bigger by ones. We can get smaller by ones. We can get bigger by tens. And we can get smaller by tens. And you know, I love patterns and I love working with puzzles. Do you like working with puzzles? Let me show you. You actually have, when we played this game the other day, we gave you a whole packet full of papers. And if you take off that first page, there's another page. Looks kind of like this. And it says number grid puzzles on it. Let's look and see what it says. It says the boxes in this puzzle are part of a number grid. Fill in the bold boxes with the missing numbers. You can use a number grid to help you. Do you see these bold boxes? That's what they're talking about. They're a little bit heavier than the other ones. So let's take a look and see what we remember, because I'm going to try it first without the number grid, and then I'm going to check it. That'll be fun. Are you ready? So we remembered when we went right to left, it got bigger by ones and it got smaller by ones. So I'm going to start right with what we know. They give us 54. So what would come after it? 54, 55, and what's next? 56. And then we can count back. 54. Now I gotta get smaller by ones. Sometimes it's hard to start right off, so sometimes you might want a running start. 56, 55, 54, 53, 52. That works. Now, do you remember when we were counting down that everything in this column stayed the same, didn't it? So what's going to be that last number in these boxes? Do you remember? 4. I'm going to put those in right now. That way I know I'm not going to mess up. But if I do mess up, I love erasers. So then it got bigger, remember? So it would be 54, 64. What comes next? 54, 64, 74. And let's work backwards and see if we can get it counting smaller. 74, 64, 54, 44, 34. How'd you do? Were you able to do it? Let's check to be sure. Okay, so I'm going to open up my book here, and I'm going to check it, and I'm going to find where it says 54. So there's my 54, and right above it is 44. Right above it is 34. So am I doing it right so far? Yay! It's so good to be able to check your work, isn't it? 34, 44, 54, 64, 74. Yay! Pat on the back, awesome. All right, so then I'm going to go back to 54 again, and we're going to check right and left. So it goes 54, 55, 56. Let's try it again. 54, 53, 52. Did we do it together? We did. High five. Love it. So this is what I want you to try to do today, because we've done that pattern today, and we notice when you go up and down, they get bigger and smaller by tens. In fact, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to use arrows like that to remind myself. So when they go up, do they get bigger or smaller? They got smaller, didn't they? So up is smaller, but you remember how much, by how many? Smaller by 10. Down is bigger, right? They got bigger, 34, 44, 54, 64. So down is bigger by 10. I love these kind of puzzles, don't you? And then then we had arrows that went right and left. Do you know right from left? I'm going to show you a little trick. If you go like this, one of them makes the L. See the L there? That's left. That means this way is right. So when I went right is bigger, right? Because I was getting bigger, 52, 53, 54. But what was I getting bigger by? Do you remember? I wasn't counting by 5s or 10s or 2s. I was counting by ones. And left is smaller by 1s. And now we have all this direction that we can remember. So when we go up, we get smaller by 10. When we go down, we get bigger by 10, bigger by 1, smaller by 1. Whew. Are you keeping all this straight? It can be a lot. It can sometimes feel like a lot of information. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's take a look and see on the next page. So this is what we want you to do today. And I want you to try and do it by yourself. So I'll put you in your own breakout room. I want you to try, and maybe you're going to get stuck and not know quite what to do, but I want you to think about what we just did. And if you need to look back at what we wrote, I'm going to this page right now. Up and down by 10. So you can fill out this page, use this page and use the grid, but then I want you to try this one, and I want you to try not to use your 100 grid if possible, because I think you can do it. Because I want you to remember, you get bigger by 1, you get smaller by 1. Remember what's in this place here, all the same, right? It gets smaller as we go up. It gets bigger as we go down. So I want you to try to do this on your own. And then we'll pop in breakout rooms and take a look and see how it's going. But they want to know what this number is. So you're going to say this number is, and you're going to write down your answer. And then I want you to tell me why. What makes you say that? Is it getting smaller? Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller by 1s? Is it getting smaller by 10s? Is it getting smaller by 2s? I want you to write whatever it is your brain is thinking. That can be a super hard thing to do, because a lot of times we just say, oh, I use my brain. But what is your brain thinking? Same thing here. What is this answer? So this number is, and you're going to write the answer there. And then I want you to try and tell me what makes you say that. And see if you can just try to unpack your brain. Gosh, that's a hard thing to do. And I don't want you to worry about it. I want you to try your best today and see what you get. And maybe you'll think when we pop into your breakout rooms, maybe you'll say, this was really hard. And that's okay, because we're going to be sharing our thinking tomorrow, and we're going to be going over this exact page tomorrow. So work on this. Take your time. Again, don't use your scroll or number grid for this, okay? I want you to try to do it all in your brain. But when you're done, or when you've said, okay, I'm ready to walk away with it, keep it near you so we can pop in and see you. But at that point, you can get out your scrolls. You can work on those, because I know I've got people who are well into the hundreds, and we're going to be making some more of those scroll papers for you so you can make your scrolls even longer, which will be exciting. You could play the number grid game, couldn't you? I know I had some friends that were playing it with stuffed animals and dolls, and it was awesome. So you could play that game too. But I would like you to try to do this first, and we'll be in your breakout rooms, and we will talk to you very soon. Have a great day.